What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So guys, channel membership is now live. Link is in the description and the first comment. Do check it out. That would really help support the channel. So the mutant Nick Walker just posted new physique updates. And these now mark 5 weeks out of his comeback show, the Pittsburgh Pro. So Nick is back in his basement, in the OG light, where he was posting those fasted check-ins last year before the New York Pro. And let's compare his trademark, most muscular shot from his New York Pro prep, which according to him and many others was the worst prep of his career. And that was the reason Martin was able to push him so damn hard for the win. Now keep in mind, both these pictures were taken right around the same timeline, which is about 5 weeks out of the show. And I have got to say, conditioning wise, he was looking a tad bit better last year before the New York Pro. I mean, just take a look at those feathers in his right leg and compare that to his current update. But let's give him the benefit of the doubt that he isn't flexing all the way in the latest update. Plus, this time, their strategy is a bit different. He isn't trying to be ready 4 to 5 weeks out of the show. He wants to be ready on the day of the show. Now the question is, do you guys see the added size that him and his team has been talking about throughout this year's Pittsburgh Pro Prep? Well, I have got to say yes, Nick has a new coach here. And they are trying to bring him in at his all-time best. And that means bring that freak factor back, bring that mass monster. But Nick actually looks more harder and more muscular from his 2024 update. And let's just say that the sweep on Nick's squats, they just aren't gonna be drastically improved, no matter how hard he trains, no matter what he does, because that is just how his genetics are. But that being said, his back lat spread, that looks the best it has ever looked. He has for sure added some width and more density in that shot, and we know that has been Nick Walker's weak shot. And Nick is gonna be super combative against all the guys from the back, including Derek. But what do you guys think about that front comparison? Is this gonna be Nick Walker's all-time best? Guys, we have a limited time offer. If you buy any flavor of Bloodshot, you are gonna get a free Dying Breed t-shirt. The discount code is on the screen right now, and use the code FAZI10 to get 10% extra discount. Next up, we have an update from Fabian Sylvian, the guy who has been missing from the scene for quite some time now. So in his most recent update, he said he's managing his own protocol, and by that we can assume that he's referring to his current diet, his training, and his PD's protocol. And I have got to say that man looks pretty damn solid right now. So the amount of effort Fabian put into his Olympia prep last year, that was immense. And the sad part is that all that prep, all that dieting, all that time, that was kind of wasted when he could not even show up for the prejudging comparisons. For the people who do not know, Fabian only did his individual mandatories, but he felt so uncomfortable on the stage and he had such unbearable pain that he just did not came out for the comparisons, for those callouts. So at the Olympia last year, we saw the most ripped version of Fabian. So could he have placed in the top 15? Well, it is kind of hard to say, because as good as he looked from the front, the aesthetics, the shape was top notch. But that being said, his side chest kind of looked weak. And the thing is, we just cannot predict where he would have placed without watching him standing next to some other guys, even from that third call out. So the question right now is that, will he ever compete again? Well, he certainly can, because a few years ago, he switched from Classic to the Men's Open, and then he chose to retire. And eventually, he came back, and he won a pro show, and he qualified for Classic Physique Miss Olympia last year. So in Fabian's case, anything is possible, as long as his health that is intact. So it is too bad that we did not get to see his comparison against Logan Franklin, so that they can sell the debate once and for all, because both these guys have been beefing for quite some years now. So at the Arnold, Logan unlocked a whole new level, but at the Olympia, both these guys have been very combative and very comparable. Stephane Matala's physique update is next. So he's rumored to make his men's open debut at France Pro later this year. And that post-workout pump, that is making him look absolutely nuts and so insane. So this is the guy who was suffering up to a point of being totally miserable to make that weight cutoff for Classic Physique. And that was the case up until Portugal Pro last year. But thankfully, he made the right call by switching to the men's open bodybuilding, because that is something that everybody has been telling him since he came onto the pro scene. And the reason for that was that he will never be able to present his all-time best with a weight cap hanging over his head. And he just could not grow his body. In fact, he was losing so much muscle. And more importantly, If he stayed in Classic, he would have been very mindful of how much he can eat, even during the off-season. So despite winning Portugal Pro and qualifying for the Olympia last year, he chose not to do the Olympia and went straight into the off-season, into a growing phase. And since then, him and his coach Patrick Tour, they have been following a super plan. And Stephane has been able to pack on some quality muscle tissue on his frame. So with all those genetic gifts that Stephane has, with those crazy chest and shoulder striations, and those insane arms, and those deep feathers on his quads, they are so rare these days. So he's probably gonna have some difficult time, even in the men's open class. But the thing is now, he can present his all-time best, and he can let his body grow. And the reason I'm saying that is because those guys in the men's open, they have that insane muscularity and density. And we know that is on a whole different level on those big boys. But this has been the right step for Stephane. Now we would definitely like to see him bring that same rock hard and gnarly kind of condition that we saw from him in Portugal last year. The man was bone dry and absolutely ripped to shreds. Next up, we have an update from Joan Pradels. So it is a rare sighting when you see such a huge guy hitting the classic pose, which is often implemented in the routines of the top classic physique guys. But considering the fact that Joan right now, he is 16 weeks out, the man is killing this pose. So with the time that he has, till it's showtime, the West is coming in very nicely. And this will be a good shot for him. So 16 weeks out means he's looking at a shoe like Temper Pro, which is often a very stacked shoe. But this is Joan's comeback after almost 2 years. So he's gonna be a lot bigger than the last time we saw him on the stage. And more importantly, the size that he has added on his frame, especially on his quads. And that overall size and the width in his upper body, that is gonna make him look way more aesthetic and enhance his V-taper so much more. So that front double biceps and the front lat spread, they are taken at an angle to enhance his V-taper. But he does look way more improved in every aspect compared to what he looked like back in 2023 when he made his pro debut at the Emperor Classic Spain. And that is the only show that he has done so far. So if he gets really peeled and he chooses his show very wisely, he has a chance to get to the Olympia stage this year. And this guy is still fairly young, and all he needs to do is to be patient and do not put on size very fast. So far he has been doing very good. But do let me know what are your expectations from Joan Pradels. It is highly unlikely that Justin Rodriguez is gonna be able to get another Olympia qualification ever again in his remaining pro career. The sport has evolved so much in the past 2 or 3 years, and it's getting more and more competitive with every passing year. Just to remind you guys, this is the same guy who has placed as high as top 8 at the Olympia just back in 2020 and also in 2021. And now the man is struggling to even place top 5 in an Olympia qualifier. So Justin competes solely for the passion of it. He isn't making any money, but still, the man loves to train and he loves to diet down. But that being said, he looks pretty badass in his most recent physique update, where he's trying to grow but stay reasonably lean. Now, I personally think that his career peaked with AJ Sims back in 2022, especially at the Arnold and the Boston Pro. That was a great combination of everything. He had those massive quads, he had that monstrous shoulder width, and due to those reasons, he was able to hide his waistline very well. And since then, it just all went downhill for him. Still, the man has got one of the craziest bicep peaks. So this might be the last year for Justin's competitive career, although he hasn't announced it just yet. But considering the fact that the man is above 40 years old, and other than William Bonac, we have never seen any IFBB pro growing back their legs after losing them. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.